Tai Chi is a shortened way of saying Tai Chi Chuan, which means, roughly translated, supreme ultimate fist or supreme ultimate boxing. Tai Chi is a great health art. It's also a great martial art. The two can never be separated. You cannot separate the yin from the yang. If you try to do Tai Chi, for instance, just as a sort of an exercise or a health dance, then you lose a great deal of that health, the health benefits that Tai Chi can give you. And the health benefits that Tai Chi can give you are really quite great. On the other hand, if you simply do Tai Chi as a form of self-defense only, then you also lose some of those self-defense benefits from not also adding to it the healing parts of Tai Chi. There are a bunch of postures, different postures. If you count every posture in the whole form, there'll be around 300 postures. They're all linked together by linking movements to form one long flowing set of movements, and this is basically what Tai Chi is. At a healing level, apart from just giving you some exercise, it's far greater than that. It works upon the 12 main and 8 extra acupuncture meridians in your body. Around everyone's body we're said to have this flow of energy, or qi as the Chinese call it, literally bathing all of our internal organs in life-giving force or life-giving qi. It's electricity. It's the very stuff that feeds our cells and holds our cells together. When we die, of course, the electricity stops flowing and our cells break up and disintegrate. So it works upon these 12 main acupuncture meridians and 8 extra ones. Every move you make in your Tai Chi form activates this qi or this energy in one of these different organs and via these different meridians. For instance, you might do a movement that activates through the heart via the heart meridian. For instance, if you simply lift your hand, obviously you had to have energy to lift your hand. Or if you're closing a door, you had to have energy to do that door. Now the energy has to come from somewhere, and it comes from a place 3 inches below your navel called the dantian. This is the storage place for the qi, or the energy. So when you do certain movements, this qi must flow through its channels. So it flows through one of these 12 main and 8 extra acupuncture meridians, thus healing that organ. Now the Chinese were of such genius in that time when Tai Chi was invented, that they simply worked out a bunch of movements which, when performed, would exercise the body such that this energy would literally have to come from the dantian through the different acupuncture meridians, one after the other, or rather be activated in these acupuncture meridians exactly as they would in a 24-hour period. This activation through the different meridians happens at a set time every day. So it's flowing through the heart meridian, for instance, between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Then it flows through the small intestine meridian from 1 p.m. till 3 p.m. and so on. And so these movements that we do in our Tai Chi emulate this activation of the qi through the meridians in a 24-hour period. So when you're doing your Tai Chi, you take this, you activate the meridians 3 extra times than you would normally have done in a normal 24-hour period, because the Tai Chi form is broken up into 3 thirds, and they all finish here like this. Then you begin the next set of movements, which is the next third, and so on. During the first third, you have a complete activation of qi through your 12 main acupuncture meridians, exactly as it would happen in a normal day. Then you do the second third, and this activation happens again, and the third third. So you're getting 3 extra times that the meridians are being bathed in active energy or active qi throughout the day. The form that I'll be teaching you is called the Yang Cheng-fu form. Yang Cheng-fu is called the modern master of Tai Chi. He sort of standardized the form from what his father gave him. He had good intentions. He wanted the Chinese people to get fit and healthy because they were in the doldrums at that stage, the beginning part of this century, 20th century. And so he wanted everyone to get well. He took a look at what his father taught him and he thought, well, old or sick people can't do these moves because there's leaping kicks, there's very explosive punches, there's everything. This is a complete martial art. So he simply took out all the leaping kicks, what we call the Fajing or explosive energy movements, and made it into the form that we know it today. And this is the form that I'll be teaching to you on this tape. His father's form, the Yang Chan form, was known in those days as Hao Chuan. The name Tai Chi is only a fairly, relatively modern name, and it had leaping kicks, explosive movements, a real fighting art, as well as a great healing art. But it's very difficult for beginners to learn. It used to take 6 years to learn this form. Now you can learn both forms relatively sooner, like 2 to 3 years, if you learn the Yang Cheng-fu form first, which is relatively easier than learning the Yang Chan's form or the Hao Chuan form. So I'll be teaching you this bit by bit. I won't be going over it that greatly. I'll just be showing you the movement so you can then simply stop your video, run back and go over the movement, stop it, run back and go over it. So you can literally have me in your lounge room doing this, doing each posture over and over again 20, 30 times if you wish. And as I said before, I'll be starting off with the Qigong. The Qigong is the thing that we do. It's a stance. Qigong means internal work or internal breathing. It's a stance. They're postures. It's the basic Qigong of which I'll be showing on this tape is a set standing posture. And you do certain breathing techniques with this posture. And we do this Qigong while we're learning our Tai Chi form, because obviously when you're learning the Tai Chi form, you're not getting the great benefits out of it. You're getting some benefit, but not all of the great benefits, because you're simply looking where you're putting your hands, you're looking what you're doing with the feet, you're learning the thing. When you finally learn the whole thing and you become competent at practicing it without thinking, that's when all the great benefits that Tai Chi has to offer really come through. But while you're learning the form, we have Qigong, which is a meditation, a working meditation, which will give you all of the things that you require for your own healing process, your self-healing process, whilst you're learning your Tai Chi form. And there's an old Chinese saying which says something like, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Well, if you want to heal yourself, then this tape is that first step. Qigong, as I said before, it's a way of getting out of Tai Chi the things you should be getting out of it before you've actually learnt the stuff. It's a simple stance. It's sometimes called 3 circles standing Zen, because we make 3 circles. We make a circle with our feet, a circle with our arms, and a smaller circle with our palms. The feet are scrunched under. See how the toes are just lightly scrunched under. Not so much so that it makes your toes go white like that, but just enough scrunched under. What this does is it drags yang energy down to a point called the bubbling well point on the bottom of your foot, just here. This is kidney 1 point, just between the 2 mouths. Everything, we're told in electricity, of course, that like poles detract while unlike poles attract each other. And so in scrunching our toes under, we make that kidney 1 point relatively yin to the outsides of the feet, which are yang. And so then the yang energy is dragged down to the bubbling well point, because that's the point where the energy is said to spring from. But it must first of all, of course, come from the dantian down to kidney 1 point, and then it comes through the body in order to do things. This is this working, what's called working energy. I mean, it happens bang in an instant, just like that, of course. But that's the reason we have the toes scrunched under. Now you bend your knees. I'll turn sideways so you can see exactly how not to do it. You bend your knees straight down, not like this. See how I'm bending backwards? It's always good to have a mirror at the side of you so that you can make certain that you're not pushing forward into your knees. That's what most people too would do for some strange reason. When they bend their knees, they tend to go down like this. See how the back is, even if it's just a little bit like that, it's not good. You must imagine there's a seat just under your buttocks here, and you literally just hold this position and sit straight down. Now see how the back is now vertical. See how the buttocks are naturally tucked under. They're not tucked under like this. They're just tucked. See now, standing I have a normal S-shaped back. That's normal. That takes the bumps and grinds of the day. But when you bend your knees, see how the buttocks just tuck under naturally. They're rounded. In other words, there's no hollow in your back here. That's important. If you can't get rid of the hollow, lie on the ground, raise your feet up and see if you can put your hand under the small of your back. You shouldn't be able to. There are a number of different classics that we must follow here. All we're left with in the Chinese martial arts, healing arts, are a bunch of old classic sayings. One of them is, we must round the shoulders. So the shoulders must never be up. You must be really constant in the beginning, especially in your Tai Chi training, that the shoulders, when you raise your hands, for instance, aren't coming up when you raise your hands. They're simply staying there when you raise your hands. It's the same for Qigong. The shoulders are simply rounded. The chest is said to be concave, naturally concave. In other words, we're not standing like a soldier, putting out the chest and dragging the shoulders back. The tongue must be resting gently on the hard palate, like you're saying L. The tongue's just touching, the tip of the tongue is just gently touching the hard palate. That's a natural position to be in. When you breathe in, this is the important part. Don't breathe like this. Do not breathe like this. See how my chest is raised up? For some strange reason, women seem to have a big problem with this. Men seem to grasp it fairly readily, but women, they seem to have a problem, mainly because of the tension in their upper body, I should imagine. However, you watch my chest, it will not move. Just this lower abdomen area here will come out. I'll over-exaggerate it just so that you can see the movement. And then on the out-breath, you see there is no reason whatsoever to raise the chest. I can breathe in fully here. Raising the chest drags no more air in than what I already had when this area here was stuck out. It comes from here. This is where your diaphragm is, just here. When you breathe in, the muscles pull the diaphragm down, sucking in air through your windpipe, and so filling up this area here. That's where the bulk of your lung is. The lung ends up here, but it's just a tiny little bit of lung up there, so there's no reason to inflate that area. It's just this area here, but don't force it. You mustn't force it. If you find you're getting a headache or something, that means you're creating tension with your breathing. You're forcing it. It's just I'll just do it naturally without my hands up so you can see my stomach moving. That was one in and one out breath.